Welcome to Fusion 360. This is where we're going to build our truss and create our 3D printable nodes. And so this will be all done in a three-dimensional environment. But for my students, many of you will be brand new to Fusion 360. So I wanted to point out a few things that you should do to get started. First of all, in the upper corner right here, where your smiling face might be, or just the letter of your name, but your account right here, come down to preferences, and let's just check a couple of preferences. And under design, click on design right in here. And first of all, for design history, make sure that you've got capture design history turned on. Okay, you've got a few different options on here, but you want this to be your default for all your drawings because that unlocks a lot of the power of Fusion 360. And then down at the bottom here for your default units, in the design environment, tell it you want to design in millimeters. That's what we're going to be doing. And then just double check in the simulation and generative design right here that you're set up for the metric units because that's what we're going to be using for this project because Imperial sucks. Okay, let's carry on right here. You've got those all set up right in here. You're going to need to know a little bit about how to maneuver in the Fusion 360 environment. So up here in the top corner, we've got something called the view cube up here, top right corner. And the view cube is kind of like a little building block that sits in the 3D space of Fusion 360. And you can pick it up and you can drag that building block around. And as you do that, whatever angle you look at your building block from, that's what you're looking at your project from. So you can pick that up and you can drag it around. And so if you want to look at it from the front, you can click on it right there. Okay, now you notice that my front is upside down. I've got named axes in here. I'm in the XZ plane right now. Um, uh, you'll see why my truss is shaped the way it is. Technically, there's the actual front. If you click on these little sides, that brings you up to a top view. And so you can rotate around and get all these different views. You can even click on the corner and you get a nice little view up there. Again, you click and drag on that and you can rotate it into the position that you want. Okay, now that's one way to move things around on your screen. You can also come down to the bottom right here and there is the orbit command and you can take the orbit and orbit just lets you pick it up. Again, I'm just using my main mouse button, the left-hand mouse button. I'm not doing anything fancy right here. Middle mouse button lets you zoom in and out, so I'm just rolling it back and forth right there. And the right mouse button is one that you can use for picking up different commands. It's not going to help you move around all that much. When you've decided you're done doing your orbit, you can hit escape. So that's a little bit about how you're going to move around inside this environment. And over on this side right here, this is all of your files. Now the files are stored out there on the cloud. Autodesk takes care of all that for you. But you're going to come in, you're going to create a truss design like this. Ultimately, we're going to go into the simulation environment. Okay, so we start out in design, then we come into the simulation. And I've already analyzed this one and I've got some results for it. Yes, the results are out of date because I've changed the design after looking at my results, but it's going to open up those results for me. And let me just spin that back around. There we go, or use my orbit to fine adjust where I want it to be. I happen to have a 3D mouse on my desk, so I can just pick it up and spin it around like that, which makes it really easy for me to look at things. If you're going to be doing a lot of 3D CAD, oh my goodness, do I recommend a 3D mouse. They're so cool. Um, and you can see right here, this is a structural buckling analysis, and it's telling me that it's going to swing out to the side right down here in the bottom. If I look at it like that, you can see that big sway coming off in the bottom. So anyway, we're going to figure out how to get there. And then let's come back to our design environment. In our design environment, we're also going to take a look at how to build these nodes that we're going to end up printing, and then we're going to kick them out to our slicer program and get them ready to go on a 3D printer. Let's see, what else do you need to know in here about what we're going to do? Your files are over here. This section is useful. This is your browser, and this keeps track of everything that you've done. So I've got bodies in here, and I can turn these bodies on and off. So for instance, I've got solid pipes, those are my solid skewers. So if I just want to see all of my individual nodes, I can turn off the solid skewers. Again, if I just want to see the skewers, I can turn off the nodes. So you can do all of that right in there under the bodies with the drop-down menu. You can also see some of your sketches. So if I come up here to the bodies and turn off there, you can see the 3D sketch that I used for creating everything. So I'm going to guide you through this and show you how to do all of that. We've got construction planes that we use for putting things together. Plane right on here that we use for creating all of our parts right there. So anyway, don't worry about that. If you've never seen them before, you don't know what you need, you're going to do. We're going to show you how to do all of that. But grab that view cube, spin it around, and you know, try getting used to it. That's a weird thing that happened there. Give me my 3D mouse back. Yay. Okay, so when you're done with your file, or when you just need a break, hit save or save as, and then you can close it up right up at the top. And sure, I'll save those changes. What's really cool is when it saves your changes, it saves it to a new version. So you can see on this side right here where I've got all my files that I am on version 7 of that file right now. But now it's time to start a new file because this is what you're going to be doing. And in a previous video, we created a truss in TrussMe, and it had some ballpark ideas of what we wanted our truss to look like. We saved it as a DXF. We're going to start from that sketch. Okay. Now, before we go and do any of that, I'm going to get you to come in here, and while I'm thinking of it, I'm going to get you to come into, let's see, we're in the solid environment, and under modify right here, we've got a whole bunch of tools in the drop-down menu. Come down here, and we are going to change our parameters. We're going to use these a little bit later on, but we're going to be using a thin pipe and a thick pipe, or a thin skewer and a thick skewer is what I should say. And if you click on the plus right here, okay, I am going to call this thin skewer. Oh, got to make it all one word. Thin skewer. Okay, and you've measured the skewers. You know how big your skewer is around. Take your data. I'm putting 3.2 in here for my thin skewer. I think that's a bit generous, and maybe they're closer to 3.1. Again, the better the data you put in, the better your results are going to be. And now I'm going to put one, I shouldn't call it thick skewer because that looks so much the same. I'm just going to call it big skewer. Okay, that way they both start with a different letter. Oh, sorry, I hit enter too soon. Come back here, change parameters. I didn't put a value on that, so it didn't save. I'm going to call it big skewer. Don't hit enter until you're done. Hit the plus. There we go. Plus button, Jason. You're adding them. Big skewer. And I'm going to say 5. But if your number is different from mine, use your number because it's your truss. Where did our thin skewer go? Thin skewer should still be in there. Did I not do that properly? I think I hit enter too soon. Oh, must be in there because it's telling me I'm not allowed to use it. Big skewer. Well, this is less graceful than I'd intended. Maybe I'll edit this part out.